Hello and welcome. Allow me to introduce myself as Amadeus, artist by classical definition and fellow game master. And as a game master, I know that new players are the lifeblood of our hobby. They're also the easiest to lose. And to address this issue, over the course of the past year or so, I have been ruthlessly iterating on a new character sheet to streamline the onboarding and actual play process for a more analog experience. It is a self-standing design, as you can see here, to display your character's information to the rest of your party, as well as having your own information simply visible at all times, while taking up significantly less table space. It folds up into a form-fit factor, easy for travel. It comes with 2 markers, an expo, a dry erase, and permanent marker. More on that in a bit, as well as a dedicated field guide, which we'll also touch on in a moment. The sheet itself unfolds and has little rubber stamps on the bottom to help stabilize and stand the sheet up. Now, what I'll do, I'll go ahead and bring the camera here closer and I'll give you a tour of the inside of the sheet and look through more of the specific UI elements. So for this example, I'm going to use my boy Standard Steve here as I demonstrate you through the character sheet. Opening it up. Now, for newer experienced players, this may seem a little overwhelming at first, but it's okay. We'll go ahead and I'll walk you through the step-by-step to show you exactly what we're looking at here. We'll start on the left with your skills and attributes. I visualized the math to eliminate messy tracking. For your attributes, simply fill in a number of bubbles equal to your total modifier. For skills, these spark shapes track your proficiency. If you're proficient in a skill, just fill in a number of sparks equal to your current proficiency bonus. It is clean, visual, and readable at a glance. All right, main attributes out of the way, let's come over here to the equipment panel, where what I've done is I've gone through the most common equipped armor and accessories that you can find in an average D&D campaign. And I have included little boxes of the most common stats and bonuses that they give to you to try and reduce as much handwriting as possible here. Let's do a quick example where let's say that I have acquired a leather helmet. So what I'll do is I'll simply take my fine tip Sharpie here, and upon acquiring a leather helmet, I'll simply write in here, leather helmet, and then it's a plus what? Nope. Oops. Well, fret not. This permanent marker is not as permanent as you might think. What we'll do is we'll take our expo marker or dry erase and simply draw over whatever we want to erase. And just like magic, it wipes away as if it was never there. Speaking of equipment, down here at the bottom of the equipment panel, we have spaces for your current equipped weapons here. Steve here has a great sword, and I've included a convenient proficiency space here to track the proficiency he has with that sword for easy reference in-game. Conveniently next to all the damage, range, and any traits or effects. The best part about these boxes, however, is that they are specifically designed to track spells and weapons. Spellcasters rejoice. Well, I have Magic Missile here. Assuming that he does have spellcasting proficiency, simply write that in, plus whatever his spellcasting modifier is, intelligence in this spot, to get his bonus. Damage, range, as well as we got space for the material components and whether it requires concentration or not, duration, as well as the traits and effects. Speaking of spellcasting, let's bring us down to the bottom flap here, where we have specific spot for tracking spell slots, your max health, current health, as well as gold, inspiration, XP, and currency for those that use Electrum for some reason. And the sheet, once again in normal play, will be standing, so this bottom flap will always be flat and easy for you to simply write and update your values on without having to flip the sheet down constantly. real quick, just to finish off the inside of the sheet, we have a unique aspect that I've introduced on here, being the relationship tracker. Anytime that you have a specific interaction, or let's say a notable interaction with an NPC or enemy, your DM can assign a rival X or an ally heart. So you can actively track your ongoing relationship with these characters that you interact with in the world. As you can see here, standard Steve's sibling, default Dan, has 3 ally hearts, presumably love each other to a degree, but also he has a rival cross as well. So you're not limited to one or the other, because we got those classic sibling rivalries, but also more intentional rivalries, like his rival with Angsty Alan I have written up here. Now, this can be as deep or as shallow as DM want to run this. It could be a simple just tracker as is to visualize and remember what NPCs that you interact with and have relationships with. But for the more homebrew inclined DMs, it can be as deep as a active nemesis system. While the sheet is for quick reference, the field guide is where the context lives. The first 2 pages break down what the most common skills are used for, and gives them a menu of universal actions of what they can do on their turn. We've also got dedicated space for inventory, proficiencies, and a few extra weapon slots for our marshals out there. But the real depth is in the tabbed sections. Starting out with passives and feats, each section has a how to fill example. But it's in the actions and spells pages where we bridge the gap from video game to tabletop. As you can see, I've incorporated the action icons from Baldur's Gate 3 into the top corners of each action and spell slot, making the process of referencing your abilities instant and familiar. And finally, the dice guide, a quick reference that teaches new players to associate the shape of the dice with the values on their sheets. Allow me to paint you a familiar scenario. You're a DM running a session for a couple of new players, and you ask one of them to make you a perception check. Using a traditional sheet, they'll be looking down and say, oh, well, where's my perception? They'll be kind of looking over it, and you'll try to point it out, and you spend a couple minutes trying to find it, make the roll, and your pacing gets killed. Using these sheets, I'll just simply say, it's under your green wisdom box. The best part is that because the sheet is standing, you stay in their peripheral vision the entire time. You maintain engagement and their attention, even when making checks. So, the logic is sound and the system works, but as an artist, I know better than most that it's not finished until it survives contact with the players. And with the final season of Stranger Things, we're about to get a new wave of players to our hobby again. And I want this tool to be ready for them, but right now it's not perfect. The print on the outside flap is a little dark, and some of the writing spaces could be a little larger. However, I have about 50 prototype units sitting here next to me. They work, but they need to be stress tested by the experts who know where the friction points are. And if you would like to help shape its final design, you can head over to my Ko-Fi, link in the description, and grab a prototype pack at a discount just to cover the cost of shipping and materials. And run them. Tell me what you like, what you hate, what's missing, and let's make this the best it can be for not only the wave of new players, but maybe even other systems in the future. Once again, I'm Amadeus, and thank you for watching.